All right, we are recording.
All right, welcome, episode 15, Moving on Sports with your hosts Sam and Ryan. Took a little break there. Some of us had to get back to the real world,
Yeah,
and now we're rolling. The Brewers season has started. It's April 6th, 2025. How we doing, Sam?
doing well. The weather's not quite as nice here as it is for you there, but it's sunny outside and definitely feels like spring. And I think that's probably like the most optimistic time of the year for me.
Okay, I like that.
Like, I don't know if it's the best time, but I think just, like you feel the weather starts changing, the days start getting longer. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's, like spring, like hope springs eternal and all that stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It's
I
nice.
like it. I like the positive energy.
Yeah.
We got baseball season, March Madness. Yeah, draft is a month away.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going
Masters.
on. Masters week, which is super exciting. Yeah. I was watching a little bit of the Live. So Live Golf did like this 2-man scramble, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I've never seen pros play a scramble before.
It's like pure, like actual scramble or best ball.
It was an actual scramble, but it was one pro and one like YouTube creator.
Okay.
And to be honest, it was a little disappointing. It was just like they cut like the cut in the video so much, and they're. Have you ever watched like YouTube golfers or videos like that?
Not really. No.
Usually they're pretty good because they're kind of just following them as they go, and there's like commentary and they're kind of explaining. But there was like three it was three groups of two playing together, and then another three playing the hole behind them, 9-hole match, and they I mean they're good golfers, but it just wasn't like it's done well as I thought it could be done, honestly. But first time.
Wow, so only like 6 total groups participated, played.
Yeah, it was like Phil, Joaquin Neiman, Dustin Johnson, Sergio, Bubba Watson, and some other guy left. And then like paired up with like a creator.
Kind of interesting. Like Bubba, like he was one of my, I would probably like other than like Tiger Woods, but he was probably my first favorite like golfer. I think he had like that Masters where I don't know if he won one, but he did like really well. I think I just like the name Bubba, and I remember like he hit it pretty hard. But he's kind of like a Ricky Fowler to me, where it's like, but not as good. Kind of like poor man's Ricky, where I don't know. And maybe it's just like my bias here, but it seems like he never really did anything, but he's still kind of like hanging around.
Dude, I think he won 2 Masters.
Yeah, didn't he? Yeah, so like kind of like really like fall like for someone winning that, I don't know, just no one really thinks about it.
Yeah, he kind of fell off a little bit. Like I think he won like later 30s, and then he just got a little bit older and a lot of good young guys. And then he went and Live, so he's not.
Yeah.
No one really watches Live, And I've tried to watch it a little bit, but it's just not. I don't know. It's like I like the fact that you see more golf, like you see more shots. That's what Live is good at, but it's so like chaotic. It's hard to follow. Where like the PGA, it's like a lot of this like slow time, the drama. It's almost like a story you're watching. You're watching like, the leaders like hanging on, and then like people going after them. And there's a lot of like commercials and downtime and like walking along the fairway. So Live is like a lot more. Live like shotgun starts the first couple of rounds. So there's more like golf happening at one time, but yeah, I don't know. It's just not really picking up. I'm reading a book right now about the whole merger and like the behind the scenes, the early on days. So it's pretty interesting.
Early on, I mean, that's like that turned around pretty quick.
Yeah, dude, it was kind of crazy in this book because they kind of went through Saudi Arabia's history and like, is they're the whole sponsor. And I was like, I didn't even know. So Saudi Arabia was created because the American company pretty much found oil there.
Really?
And it created
you're like your audio is like distorting again.
I don't know. Is
I
it
don't know
better
why
now?
it does that, but like sometimes you like fix it and I don't know what you do.
Is it bad right now?
Yeah, it's bad.
I don't know if there's really anything. I don't know. My whole screen is like kind of flashing weird right now. Is it bad? Yeah, I'll rejoin.
All right. Keep it going. All right. Solo taking this on. Okay. Here we go.
Hopefully it works better now.
No.
Bad?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just an internet thing. It says I'm good doing well though. I don't know. I don't know where my audio. I need to get a mic. Get mic'd up.
Do you have AirPods?
Yeah, but whenever I speak with it, I could try them. They don't seem to work that great though. I can try.
So yeah, Saudi Arabia, golf, Brewers. Yeah, I don't know. Like this is just Sam talking now. But it's kind of nice like being disconnected from being on the internet all the time where you only kind of know the headlines, I guess, of world events. And I think that's just a better and healthier way to live life.
You're doing less world events?
I was just saying, like, just kind of rambling. But I think, like, now that, I don't have as much time, like, I kind of, like, only know headlines and, like, more surface level stuff. And I'm definitely not, I'm like, I guess this year I haven't really cared about politics at all, but, like, now I just really don't care about it. And I always go through, like, cycles of politics.
Is this working better or no?
No. I wonder if it's me. I have a setting on, maybe I'll try turning it off, where noise cancellation. Try turning it off.
Can you hear me now? Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. I think I hear it a little bit too now.
Google Meets.
What the hell? So you've been doing less politics, which is probably good.
Oh, too many Chrome browsers? Let's try that.
I'm in Chrome.
Do you have a ton of browsers open? Like tabs?
I could close. I only have one. I'll just Google one other one. Yeah, just like computer using. My whole computer's being weird now. It's like glitching. Maybe we should I might just like restart it, honestly.
All right. Try that.
All right, 1 second. Maybe just pause. Maybe we restart.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's still recording. And
all right.
I'm feeling it. It helps me like scramble here.
There we go.
All right. Maybe it's me. Oh, shit. All right. Kind of funny right here when you get back. Or I guess you hear this, your face is like frozen on the screen. So it's audio. It might have been me actually. I okay. But yeah, I just don't really care about stuff, and I think I'm just focusing on sports. And I think that's like the healthy way for a man to live in life. Like I guess I also just don't trust guys that aren't interested in sports. It's like then what do you like? What do you follow? It's like politics, developments in anime. I guess it's probably anime. That's what I imagine. Take the typical person Oh man, maybe American man. But even like British people, they like European, they like soccer and stuff a lot, which I kind of disrespect it as a sport, but it's a sport, you know. But like no interest in anything sports.
All right.
All right, we're good now. I think it was yeah.
Damn
What?
America.
Maybe weird segue if you don't want to go down this road. You keep talking about Saudi Arabia, but like I was thinking like of guys that aren't interested in sports at all. Like, what do you think they're probably like? What are they interested in then? Like, I was thinking maybe it's anime.
Anime, yeah. Maybe like art more, like books. Yeah,
I don't know, but like guys don't really read that much.
Yeah. What percent of guys aren't into some sports? I guess, right?
That's a good. Like,
I feel like you gotta have some. I don't know. Sports is just such
like even like anything, even like Europeans like soccer and stuff, right? Or like rugby, yeah, cricket.
Yeah. I don't know. It would just be kind of sad. I feel like I don't know. It's like camaraderie. It's an excuse to get together. It's
more competition. Wow. So okay, all right. Good question. What percent of males aren't a fan at all of sports? What do you think?
I'm gonna say 18.
Wow, pretty close. 13%. 14%. And what percent of females do you think are not a fan of sports at all?
This is interesting. 36.
Wow, exactly. Do you look it up?
No. Nice.
Wow. All right. Wow.
I was doubling my 18.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's 44% of men are avid fans, which I don't know how they describe that.
It's weird with like Lauren. She's like watched a lot of sports. She played like basketball all through high school. Went to Oregon, but I wouldn't like. But if I didn't throw sports on, I don't know if she would ever watch sports herself.
Yeah, like what would she watch? Like probably like, and I think it's also different for women. Like I don't think women ever will put sports on basically by themselves.
Yeah,
like, I think that's just something they never do. But like they have like they're happy like Super Bowl parties or like like an event, right, where there's like people together and there's like food and like where it's an event, like they like that shit, and that's like entertaining for them. Or like baseball games, they're mostly fine with that. I found, like happy to go and participate.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's hard to get like some of the women's sports leagues going because the men are watching men's sports leagues and women just tend to not throw on. Like I throw on like a Brewer game. I would throw on the Brewer game like every night, even if I'm not really watching it. Like you just kind of on, it's there, you're paying attention. And I think that's a pretty normal like guy thing to do. It's just to
like or you put on an NBA game or like whatever, like any sort of like if you're just putting something on, like and I get like Netflix and stuff is like really, crowded into that, segment. But like girls will put on like, just trashy, or not trashy, but just TV shows, right? Like they're putting on things way more TV shows like The Office or, I don't know, like The Bachelor, Real Housewives, whatever, right? And it's not, I'm not having like a discussion like one's better than the other, but it's just kind of interesting of like probably to women it never even like occurs to them to ever put on a sports show for that. Like that would be like, like completely alien to them.
Yeah, it does seem that for sure. I don't know. Like,
well, it kind of follows. So like 50% of females are casual fans.
Yeah.
And then 15% avid. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see like if like the women that are in relationships versus like single women.
Oh yeah, and I would say like relationships, they're like forced to be a casual fan just because it's like on, right? Especially if you have like limited TVs or whatever, or, just hanging out, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Sports is just such a great like background one for me because it's like Netflix TV shows. I kind of want to know what's happening most of the time. Maybe The Office is enough, but like, you know, you can with a TV show, you kind of want to pay attention. With sports, it's like there's a lot of baseball games in the year. You know, there's downtime.
Well, and you could also just come into it at any point, right? Like you come into the 8th inning, you see the score, you quickly understand like what, you know, maybe not exactly what's transpired, but like at least where we're currently are at in the game, right? And you can like understand what's gonna happen subsequently. To your point, you can't just pop into this run-of-the-mill Netflix drama and then just understand. You know, like maybe you could, but it's just I don't know. It just doesn't. It's never seemed enjoyable, and that's something I would ever do. Is like.
Yeah.
But then again, like back in the day, like TV channels, right? Like you pop on an episode of Law and Order, like halfway through, you know, and like people do that.
Yeah, I feel like movies used to be such a big thing. Like you'd watch the end of like Top Gun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Top Gun movie on,
and I love that shit. Like I really enjoyed just putting on movie. You know, like movie's on halfway through. I'll absolutely watch that, and I'll have like a really enjoyable experience. With that, like now, I'd never do that. Yeah, I would never ever do that.
Like the first half of like all the build up and the storyline and all that, you just get all the action, and you like already know what's gonna happen, but it's kind of fun, and then you're like, all right, good time.
Well, and I think part of it too is kind of like an interesting point of like humans, like you flip it on, like you didn't have to like think about it or make the choice to pick up this movie. You know, it feels like even though it's a completely low stakes thing, like by itself. But it feels even more low stakes where it's like, oh, it's already on the show. I'm just going to watch it versus like, well, I pick it out. I somewhat own that I picked it out. So I want it to be something I'm interested in, right? You know, and like I'm going to spend more time thinking about it when it's like, who cares?
They should make like a random button, like a random. Maybe you have like a general like action or comedy, but you just do random and it just starts playing like a movie and you're just like, because that's when you see something you are kind of invested in, then you're like, all right, well, I put the time and effort where, I don't know, that's weird.
No, and I know like for one of this free, I think it's like the free, like maybe it's Freevee or whatever, but they mirror what TV does, where it's just they have all the different like quote unquote channels, and then they just have movies playing on that channel that's in the catalog. So it's just like taking like the Netflix library or whatever, but then just mapping it out like what people are used to for like TV. And I tried it a little bit, and it's fine. Yeah, I kind of liked it actually.
Yeah, I can see that. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Should we talk Brewers?
Yeah, let's talk Brewers. All right. So I was kind of pulling up like just kind of, so I think kind of maybe a good thing to talk about since it's like brand new. It's like Savant came out with stuff.
Savant back. Best baseball website.
I know. And it's, I think maybe just a little bit of a larger discussion of like baseball is doing pretty awesome in terms of, I don't know, the ecosystem, right? Like Savant is like, I think it's owned by MLB, or at least like all that StatCast stuff is MLB stuff that they partner with Google Cloud. But I think Savant is like an MLB owned site. Like maybe I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's true. And I was like, I watch like MLB, like the MLB app, right? To watch Brewer games and stuff. But then I also like really like the Big Inning and just like what like they have on like the MLB Network. I'll just pop that on. And then Spencer actually yesterday was like, all right, we're gonna have a conversation of how much baseball you watch, because it's like you're already watching games that aren't even Brewers, like when like Nora and her hanging out, and it's like
dynasty. Right. That's a dynasty owner.
Right? I know, right? But it's also, that's why I think I love the dynasty, because it's like before I never would watch any other team or baseball other than Brewers. And now I actually like give a shit, and I like know, I have like a rooting vested interest. Like Ben Rice, he's 4th overall in expected WOBA right now, and I just am so excited. Like it just feels, and it's right, and it like became like truth. Like I can't tell you how pleasurable it is to like pick a guy, and I got this guy in like open free agency. So, and I bid like $3 million, which is pretty crazy for an OFA like prospect guy. Like you only do that for like established major league people. But I did that because I like believed in him. And then, this was like last year, right? And then he ended up like kind of playing a little bit, not really, and then came up and had a great spring training, and like now is having a phenomenal start to the year. And it just makes you feel so happy with yourself, and like, oh, I picked that, I knew it, and I was right. It's just really a validating experience.
You're locked
like the
in.
draft.
You're locked in your stats.
Yeah.
I think OTP is helping you, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I haven't played OTP in a long time. Because I have to like dedicate time to it. Like that's just not a game I like can pick up and like play, for me. Like it's like, oh, I'm gonna dedicate weeks to this if I'm gonna play it.
I've got a good system now where I've been playing on the mobile, so it's a little more chilled. But like,
yeah,
I'm not managing. I'm just GM, drafting, trading, signing, and I'm definitely so I have no money. So it kind of forces me to like just let guys go. Don't have time. I mean, like just draft. A lot of bites of the apple. A lot of bites of the apple.
The GM aspect of it is like so much. I don't know. It's I love that shit, and it does such a good job with it. I think
and you learn so much too, which is kind of fun. Like that's what I've been thinking about with all the Brewers injuries. I'm like, I'm worried about having to use option years on guys that you don't want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of future issues potentially. With these injuries right now, and that's what I'm a little concerned about, to be honest. But
yeah. And it makes you kind of like appreciate like why moves are made for, like why they do what they do. The front office does.
Like, why do you? It's like I always used to be so annoyed when we'd have some hot prospect, and then we'd bring up like some old like average fucking rando. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'd be like, why? He's right there. And it's like, yeah, but then it starts the whole process of major league time and first time and all that, and like. Do you want to?
And that's if they're on the 40 man too, right? If they're not, then that's a whole nother issue.
You gotta start paying them, So, yeah, it's fun. I'm a little concerned about the Brewers. Well, let's start first series of the season. We go into the Bronx, and the Bronx. Ben Rice, your boy, they pull out the torpedo bets on us. It kind of became the story of opening weekend. Unfortunately,
and I would say it kind of still is. I think it's still kind of the story of the year.
Yeah, torpedo bets. And unfortunately, we were on the wrong side of like, dude, that was crazy how many home runs they hit against us.
I know.
It was kind of hard to watch. Like 20 runs.
And it's like you get so edged to start the season, and like this is how you start, like fucking kicking the goddamn balls.
So painful. I'm like, God, man, it just kept happening and happening.
Yeah.
And fans are going crazy, and then everyone's like loving them. And I mean, I don't think we pitched. We did score like 9 runs one game.
Yeah.
But when you give up 20, what do you think? What are your you're happy? What are you happy about so far? What are you worried about? Biggest surprise?
Well, I think so. I think like connecting to spring training that, Sal was like best shape of his life, all that kind of stuff. And so, and he's leading our team right now in WAR. He has a 0.5 point of WAR, which is great, but I think for baseball specifically and kind of every sports generally, it's always like the dominant storyline of like what you think going into the year, or like, kind of like the buzz if you're in the know. It's like, oh, maybe this player, this position, and maybe this is like completely arbitrary. And like, let me know if it's just like an autistic me thing, or if you kind of think this way too. But like maybe going in like last year for the Packers, right? It's like, oh, Jordan Love is going to be this great guy, and it's like, oh, we're gonna have, and it's kind of like maybe astrology for men type thing. It's like, oh, we're gonna have this great guy pop out of somewhere, right? And he's really good, and we think it's Jordan Love because of XYZ. And then I'm like, oh, it came like Tucker Kraft had a really good season last year, or we thought like our D line was gonna have all these sacks. It wasn't the case, but like our defense is really good. So it's like the defense is really good. So it's like you're correct in the general aspects of it, but you're not correct on like the part that you thought, based on the science would happen. And so the long-winded way of saying that is like, oh, like Sal Frelick, and he's like, yeah, he's really good, but like, and it's like, oh, like maybe he turns into a 5-tool player, or like Garrett Mitchell, maybe he is like a true 5-tool player. But it's like Bryce Terang is like no one ever talked about it, even though like the signs are there, like great glove, great base running. Throwing arm is pretty great for second base, great contact. But like now he's really tapping into power. Like he is, I would say, the player I'm most excited about, like outside the obvious, outside of like Churio and whatever, like the most potential to be a superstar and like the most potential you could tap into, I think is Bryce Durant. And I'm just really excited what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah, I'm looking at his Savant right now. His average exit velocity is 87th percentile, which is nuts.
Yeah, which is for fucking compared to like what he was last year, right? Like I think he's like one of the biggest bat speed gainers so far this year.
Expected slugging 444. I mean, that's like
yeah,
legit.
Especially with his bat speed at
2 homers.
17th percentile. That's squared up.
What does that make sense? How does his bat?
Well, so it's like I think he's just hitting it like right where he needs to hit it and like pulling it right and like just hitting it hard in the best spot to hit it and then pull like so. I think that's what that means to me.
Do you think we talked about Sal and I think it was Durbin and Paredes. They're kind of like when you're in a favorable count, turn on it. When you're 0-2. Battle, right? And I think we talked about Sal doing that, and I think Sal has kind of taken that approach. But it seems like Durang is definitely taking that approach as well. And it's
and I think. Sorry, you can go. No, well, I was just saying, like the opposite-handedness. Like you can definitely see with Sal, Durang. Like I think they really struggled with it last year, and it's a lot of like you struggle with it, and you think you struggle with it, so you're going to struggle with it. Versus like I think I heard like the broadcast rock talking about it, but it's just going into the mindset of like, no, you can do this. Like you're an MLB player, like you can hit, opposite hand. Like it's not a weakness, like you just think it is. And it seems like that's popping up. Which seems super simple, but like probably sports psychology and like that mindset is probably one of the hardest things to do in actuality because it's so arbitrary.
What age do you think is like when a guy, because baseball's an interesting one, and these guys they played like Trang didn't play college and Sal played, but it seems to take till most guys till they're like 26 to 28 to like start that like comfortable like kind of range.
Yeah.
Like 4 to 6 years of like really good baseball, I feel like. But I feel like 25. He's still kind of in that upswing. I mean, obviously his defense is like spectacular, but is this only his like third year?
Yeah.
So that's kind of wild actually. It seems like he's been around for like such a long time.
Yeah, but I think that's a great point you make, and I think so for hitters and pitchers, I think it's different, and I think it's certainly like the modern game is its own animal. Like I don't think this is something that we can compare, and maybe I just don't like. We're just in it now, so I don't remember like a 3-year guy like when he like came on back in the day, right? But it seems like for hitters, I think exactly your point, like 26 to 30, that's your prime, right? Typically, and like so like good point that 25, this is your third year under the belt. You're comfortable with it. And I think this goes for all sports, right? Like you're comfortable with the environment. Like you have your freshman year, bright eyed, bushy tails, sophomore, maybe you're pressing a little bit hard. Then junior year, both that experience leads you combine like the good, hopefully leave out the bad. And, you really hit your prime.
Oh yeah. It's funny because I think Jack did say that Turang was the most potential.
Yeah, and he was weirdly right. I guess maybe there's some credence to him being the Brewers' second favorite team.
All right, so Turang has been team MVP, maybe.
Yeah, as weird as it sounds, yeah. Would you agree? Maybe Friday, but yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the bunt? I thought it was kind of funny. Like, we won, so it's great, but it's just kind of a funny way to like win a game on a sack.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of a sack bunt. It didn't really matter if he was safe or not.
I
don't know why the pitcher threw it to first. I was like, that was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, and I think so. It's one of those things where I just absolutely cannot separate the outcome from the process there.
Yeah.
Like if that wasn't out, I would have been screaming for Murph to be fired and like, what the fuck are we doing? The small ball, stupid bullshit that we did last year, blah, 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 blah. Right. But like one thing I admire, and I think it's just always a good thing you should have, is like you have a strategy. And I think in like sports specifically, you should almost just stick to that until you get fired. You know, like if you're like a smart, like good guy and you had a good team, just stick with what you know, because I think it's like as soon as you deviate off of it, even if deviating off of it is like the actual good idea, I think you just lose the locker room and lose trust that like you don't know what you're doing type thing.
That's true.
You know? But yeah, I think specifically to your point, they throws it first showed that they just did not expect it, right? That they were just discombobulated and that great play, great time, great thing. And like, oh, we'll probably be instances where we do it and I'll fucking hate it. But, like to start the season off to get a win when we really needed a win and like have the team, like kind of like be ballsy, right? Like you do some ballsy shit, even though like for Terang, like, he's the small ball king. So is it really that ballsy in that situation? I don't know. But, yeah, I guess.
Like if he popped that up to the pitcher, I would have been so.
Oh my god, right. And that happened one time last year where there was like a pop. It was like bottom of the ninth, and there was I think it was fucking. You know who it was? It was Perkins did that last year.
Oh yeah.
He bunted, yeah, and like it was and I remember like I was so excited. We like rallied back. I don't know. We were playing maybe the Cardinals or some shit. And it ended it, and I remember I was drunk, and I just went on a fucking tirade. And, yeah, I absolutely remember that. I remember a lot of Brewers moments actually. Like if you yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Terang, Sal's playing really well. Terang's playing really well. Besides that, defensively, I think we've been playing well. I mean,
yeah, I think so too.
Reese has been a little bit better than expected, maybe.
Yeah, I think he's been a lot better than expected.
At first, Bowers had some weird play at first the other day that was kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
In the game, they ripped one at him, and it kind of went off his glove, and then they ended up scoring a guy from second, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was a little frustrating, but overall, after losing those first couple games to the Yankees, I'm glad we bounced back.
Mm-hmm.
Royals took the Royals series. We got to finish the series tonight against the Reds, but who's your most concern?
Well, I guess I'll kind of pass it back to you. Who do you think has the lowest WAR on our team right now for hitters?
Contreras is batting.
So he's third worst at -2.
Which is not great. Ortiz?
No, Ortiz is fifth worst, also at -2. I don't know how they decide that. Maybe it's decimal points.
That there's four guys worse than Ortiz, and he's batting like 170. Reese, Vinny, worst?
Vinny's second worst at also -0.2.
Is it Reese then?
No, Reese is sixth worst at -0.1.
Not Yelich. Don't tell me it's Yelich.
It's Yelich.
No.
Yeah, it's Yelly.
Dude.
Yeah.
Okay. We're easing into this season. He was playing well in the spring training too.
Well, yeah, and I think like spring training, we just like every year it happens, and I always fall for it, but we just really got to flush that. It matters, but it doesn't. I think they say like it's 70% can matter. But like we just keep falling for it, and we'll keep falling for it every year. But it's just too exciting. You're edging too hard.
He's batting 107, 286 on base, and a 214 slugging, 500 OPS, which a lot of room for. His WOBA though is like over 400.
Yeah, so I think the big thing is his defense is -2.5 already.
Good Lord.
I know. He might be completely cooked. And that kind of fucks a lot of things if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like his contract, like what do we have left on that?
I think it's till 2027 or
yeah. So we have 3 more years, not including this, of mid 20 mil.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty much you just have to operate as like we get 20 million less of our budget.
And we're already that's like 25%. I think what are we rocking? Like 100 mil budget?
Yeah, like
we're rocking 110. Yeah, so that's 25% of it not being good.
Well, it's just like my team, and you just gotta. You need those young guys to play really well when this is the issue.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's early on in the season. He was out for a while. He did hit well in spring training. I know it's spring training, and I do think
he had that home run too.
He had 1 home run, which honestly makes it even worse because he's had a home run. He only has 3 hits right now.
Yeah.
His home run per hit percentage is really good.
Yeah. And he's walking really well. Like he's seeing the plate pretty, and maybe he's passive,
The fact that his on base is a 286 with a 107 average is actually
yeah, dude, that's and like honestly, like say like the whole bat falls off, but like you still have like the eye is something I think like ages pretty well,
Yeah, it does.
And like so that like we're totally coping right now, but like that's and also his bat speed 60th percentile, average EV 67th, so like if you look at like body, like what his body, like he's whiffing a bunch, K'ing a lot, but like his body seems to be okay, right?
Yeah. His base running is 82nd percentile. I think what we do is we just lead him off, we get him on, and let Terang hit him in. Or
use his beautiful eye to know when a pitch is coming inside, and he just fucking wears a ton of them. So he can get on. Like I think he needs to pull a can. He's just got he's just got to. I think he's just got to start wearing some shit.
Huge fucking elbow thing, and just start getting it out there.
Fucking take one in the face like a man.
It's probably not the worst thing in the world. Did he get insurance on his contract or something?
Yeah. Like that's why we need ARP for like contracts, so we can bully players into taking pitches to the face to help the team. Yeah.
Brutal. I'm gonna say it's early. I'm gonna say he turns it around or gets a little. I am concerned about his defense though, which I know we've been DHing him a little bit, but I don't know.
Well, and he's so stubborn. Like he's so stubborn. Like and like he has this contract where it's like, how much power does the team actually have to say, hey, like if all the numbers say we need you to DH, like how often does that actually happen? Given like his status and like where he's at, right? And like trying, like, because we still, like I said, we still have 3 years. We were counting on him to like be decent, right? At least, hopefully. Yeah. And like if you just DH and he just gets pissed off, where does that go?
Yeah, where does that go? Like, who's gonna trade? Like, we couldn't possibly trade.
We're not gonna trade him, but like it could get much worse. Like it could be a bias type situation, right? Like where you're just saying, "Fuck it, I'm just swinging at everything," and then you poison the locker room. He
doesn't seem like a type of guy that would do that, but yeah,
I don't know. But like he might, like, right? Like everyone has a breaking point, and you like, especially when you're so good and you're being told that you can't do this anymore and you suck, like, and the fans turn on you, like that could get sour in a hurry.
I'm told to get ugly, especially when you're by far the highest paid player.
Yeah, right. And then like all these young people that are looking up to him that we have to have on the team, like,
No, I'm with you. I'm looking at Churio's chart, and that's a little concerning as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Does he have 0 walks this year? Because his on-base percentage is the same.
Yeah, he does. He does. I think he does have 0 walks.
Okay. I will say, watching Churio, every time, his defense is a little suspect to me.
Yeah, but like sometimes it's really good. I don't know.
He makes plays, but his arm is like, it's just something about the way it looks is just a little funky at times. He's a -1 arm value, 6th percentile.
Yeah.
And his WOBA is under 300.
Yeah. But average EV, hard hit, bat speed, squared up, That all looks good. So,
and his average
that's kind of what I care about.
He's over 700 OPS. So for now,
yeah.
For now, it's
and
okay.
like remember, like last year, he started off really piss poor. You know, so yeah, like
Free League right now has a 959 OPS, which is pretty crazy.
I know, and like I don't like. Have you been able to watch like a bunch of games, watching highlights and shit?
Yeah, I've been trying to watch highlights at least for like the night games.
Yeah, Sal. Like I mean, just the sales hit chart is just fucking hilarious. Like if you want to pull that up, like grounders, middle, like weak outfield hits. Like it's just, but you know that fucking works for him. You know, and I admire him just being like, this works for me. This is what I'm gonna do, and it is worth a lot, right? Like I do like leaning into what you're good at instead of trying to like be the Yankees, which I'm kind of now getting concerned about my large bets I had on their win total under. But
don't worry, they're gonna fall.
Yeah, I think so too. Like injuries, they're old. Yeah. And like everyone always underestimates injuries. But weirdly, we've had a really, for baseball as a whole, seems like TJ has been really low to start the year compared to years past.
Yeah, no, it does seem. I'm looking at Sal's quality of contact this year, and this is hilarious. So he has 0 barrels and 0 solid. And his flare burner percentage is 40.7, which is just that's nuts. And his 11,
it's working.
Yeah, it is working. The thing about it though is like with him putting on the weight, and we kind of talked about this, those flare burners become singles now.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you just need a little bit more.
Yeah, just a little bit more, and it seems to be working so far. Yelich, if you look at his barrel, he's at 5.9% barrel, 5.9% solid, 23.5% flare burner.
Okay.
Is that good? I don't know. But overall, it's not good. So Contreras is concerning to me. He just seems like he
doesn't care. I don't know. It feels like he doesn't give a shit. I don't know.
Yeah, he's just kind of chilling. It's
And also, like this popped up last year, and like I think is now an actual cause of concern. What the games he calls is really piss poor. Like I think yesterday's was like the biggest case for that, where we have this guy who like he mentioned in his post game, like what he was successful at was he has all these pitches, kind of free form, mixing them up. And I think like then Contreras just called a fuck ton of fastballs, and then he got shelled, and like he just calls a terrible game. And I don't know if that's on him, and I don't think it's game management, because when we had Hans behind the plate, he caught, I don't know who he caught, maybe he caught Nestor on that game that he had, and it was like a gem. Like that was fucking phenomenal. And like Nestor was, mixing it up, doing all this shit. And so it seems like, I don't think that's like a Haas thing, because like maybe it is a Haas thing. Maybe we're just giving our catchers so much free run to call games. Or like William just thinking he's so good that what he thinks is best. But I don't know. That's really kind of concerning for me.
Is William not a do the research before the game kind of guy?
I don't know, but we have like those coaches that do all that shit, like.
Yeah, but he still has to read like.
I guess because he has to call it during the game, right? Like it's not like you get like a quarterback where you get like information coming in. Like maybe he's just stubborn. Like
I don't think that would ever be the future where like some nerd in the box is just like calling the pitch every play.
Yeah, like NFL.
Yeah, that'd be actually kind of interesting.
I would like that. But I mean, we're just reducing like the areas where catchers can be skillful even further. And is that a good thing? I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Like you take
framing is going to be out in like a year or two when they have the ABS.
Is there any good stat for like game calling?
No, and there should be. That's a good area and it feels like pretty solvable. Like you just take pitchers, what they throw to like different catchers and like see how their stuff plays, or you like can model it. Like, I mean, they can model all this other shit. Like they can model guys 5 years out in the future. Like probably should be able to model that too.
Yeah. How's Willie's framing going this year so far?
It seems all right, I guess.
I
mean, his defensive WAR is pretty good.
Okay. He's one of the best.
His framing 88th percentile.
Okay,
but
cool.
It's like at a 0. I think this is something where like we just
too
don't have
early.
enough. Yeah, I think it's too early.
Yeah, no, I did read that Savant is owned by MLB, so that's pretty cool that they actually push it out
there. Yeah, and like allow it, and like I listen to the podcast a lot, and like and they'll have it's like Trevor May or someone like former pitcher on, and like they say like players like use this shit a lot, and I guess they even like talk about like the new pitch right now is the what is it? It's the the kick change. So that's like the new sweeper, where it's like a changeup that I don't know, like has more movement or something to it, but it's like not really its own pitch. It's just kind of a variation of the changeup, but it does something different than the changeup. But anyways, like how people caught it, they were just watching TikToks, and like there's some guy in college that like talked about it, and like then that's how it became a thing, which is kind of crazy to think about. That like
it's super
TikTok changed MLB stuff, right? And that's just like players, right? That's player person led rather than like all these millions of dollars being spent on analytics and shit, right? It's just some guy coming across a TikTok, and that's how that shit. Yeah,
it's super cool. Like the world we're in now, just cool, like data and trying new things. And I think like the cool thing about baseball is like it's such a hard sport. Like basketball, they've kind of like it's like just the way like the game flows, they've kind of like overanalyzed it, and it's just not as fun to watch. But I don't think you can possibly do that with baseball.
No.
So like as they keep like trying to push in, and then there's like the reactions to it. Like I kind of hope people do the torpedo bat. Is anyone on the Brewers? Have they talked about it?
Reese has it.
Okay, well, good. I wish everyone like.
Well, no. So for the torpedo, like that's at least what I found. Maybe it's different, but what I found is like basically it's like if you frequently hit off the label, right? Like you hit off the label, right? Like you hit on the lower part of the bat and you contact in that spot. It's just moving like the sweet spot down a little bit. So it's not a one size fits all based on your swing path and like what you're good at and shit. Like it's just like a way to augment, right? And so like Judge not using it because he doesn't need it, right? Like if like I think it's a good tool to help players.
It's almost like everyone's bat needs to be their own.
They need to have the sweet spot specifically for them.
Where's your percent of hit, and then put the more weight there, and then it appeals to them. But like I don't know, I feel it's gonna be interesting. I feel like bats could be super customized to the person in the future.
And I absolutely 100% agree with you, and I think that's a great point. And like that's something that in hindsight seems kind of obvious. Is such a like ripe area to like significantly increase someone's output, right? And like we do all this specific shit, but then it's like, and probably gloves too. I mean, gloves I think are already kind of there, but like not really, And like of all the equipment you can use that contacts the baseball, it's the bat and the glove, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like you do have room to play around with that shit. So I totally agree that it's like and I think that's going to be the revolution to the pitching, right? Like the pitching has been all this crazy. And then I think we're going to, maybe not this year, but like probably next year, we're going to have, like you said, all these crazy bats. And then people are like, power is going to come back in a big way. And like, I don't know, like you said, that's, I think, super. Lastly, to your first point of like baseball is like, it's kind of like a nerd sport in its core, right? And basketball is not a nerd sport at its core, right? Basketball, and like not to like generalize, but I'm going to generalize. Like the people that like basketball like it. They like the flashy shit, and that's like why people like it. They like dunks. They like, but that's not nerd shit. Baseball is nerd shit, and it's like the nerdier it gets, the better it is for the nerds. when you insert nerd shit into non-nerd shit, people don't like that, you know, and like that's what I think basketball is struggling with. It's like you're doing nerd stuff, but then the people that like it and are really into it aren't nerds.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Do you think like, so say we get these bats, they're more, they'll favor batters. We'll get a little bit more hitting. At the same time, we'll also be doing like the ABS, so we'll be getting a little bit more. I think the ABS will overall benefit the batters, right? I know the pitchers can, but it seems like more balls are called strikes than strikes.
Is that true though? Is that true though?
It's just my
seems. I don't know. That's a good question to ask. I like have the instinct. I agree. I'm agreeing with you, but I think that's a part of human psychology where
it's totally think, there could be no, I could be totally wrong, but it seems like the batters are going to benefit from there too. So obviously pitchers are going to continue to, I don't know, man. It's cool. Like the pitcher stuff nowadays is just like fun to watch. Like Shane Smith, your boy, he's throwing like a 92 mile per hour changeup.
Yeah.
And that's nuts, right?
And it's like his whole shit is nuts. I can't believe that we didn't protect him. Like, and I knew that. And I was fucking so right on that.
And that's why you got him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's interesting. 2008 total missed calls. So it was 2008, 8% of total missed calls. So there was 8% total missed strikes, and then a little bit less total missed balls. And then now umpires are at 4%. So the span of, I don't know, like almost 20 years, like 15 years. I can't do the math, 15 years. Yeah. So now it's total missed balls is at about 4%, and total missed strikes is about like maybe 3.2 looks like. So yeah, so it's balls now,
which means that so in
2008, 8.1% of pitches that should have been called strikes were actually called balls, which we're calling missed strikes. So they should have been a strike. All right, so now things that should have been balls overweighs what things could have been strikes, but it's a very tight relationship. Like there's not really a big gap. But it's like, yeah.
In baseball, 162 games.
Yeah, and like all those players. Yeah, you're right. It's
the small edges possibly can make a difference over a long time. So yeah, hopefully there will just be more. I guess it'll just probably be more hitting, slight more things happening. But yeah. It's crazy that 8%, like 8% is a lot in 2008.
Yeah, it is.
It's almost 1 out of 10 that your strikes were missed.
Yeah, and like I think, what was it, like Maddox or something? I saw this like video of like him, where it's like, like this was when he was kind of like towards the, like still in his prime, but like towards the tail end of it, right? Like has built up like the vet, like that's he was super good, control, knew the best, right? And he would they showed like a sequence where it started off, he would like get a borderline strike. Like it was probably a strike, but just like nipped the edge of the zone. And then it showed like kind of throughout the innings of like the pitch would just keep getting progressively farther and farther away from the zone. And there'd still be called strikes. And he like had a plan. He like specifically did that shit because he knew that like the umps defer to him and everyone defer to him. Like we don't have all this social media to like be like, oh, like that's wrong, right? Like if you're like, I think you're a dominant personality, you could, that's just how it went. And like, part of me thinks that's kind of badass and cool, right? Like you super get that, like you power up, right? Like that you like own that and you like destroy it. But also part of it is like, fairness is like objectively the best way to go, right?
It makes sense though, because if you think about it, like when you're pitching, sometimes you throw one down and then you get another strike on a guy down 0-2. Then you throw a high fastball. You want to move his eyes, right? And then attack the lower part of the zone again. So think about it, like you're also kind of playing the ump with his eye. So Maddox was just like so next level. I love all his interviews. Every time I see an interview with him,
same.
The podcast is just so good. And So he would talk about, there was one recently, he gave up a home run, I think it was to Jeff Bagwell.
Yeah.
In like 5 months before the playoffs, like he purposely gave a home run up in a meaningless moment in a game because he knew like when playoff came, he'd have some big moment, and then he changed like his pitching, and struck him out. So awesome. To think like that.
I agree with you. I love that long con shit. Like just when you're like that smart enough to like pull that shit off, and then you actually go and do it, like that's like sports. That's like je ne sais quoi. You know, that's just a master showing why they're the best.
Beautiful, beautiful thing to watch. So it makes sense that he would mess with. I mean, I'm sure if you talk to like other sports too, like they do kind of play the refs.
Yeah,
in a sense, right?
Or like Mahomes, right? Like for the sack shit, right?
Yeah, like you're playing it. The NBA guys are definitely playing it. Baseball guys are playing it too. So it's tough as a batter though, because there's not much you can like push back on.
No, and like if you do, then like, and even like playing into that, right? Like, okay, you're going against a hothead, right? And like you get them thrown out of the game or some shit, right? Like, play with their emotions, And I think like
that's one thing I kind of like about the ABS is it kind of like helps. It gives you another option besides just like losing your mind on the ump. You know what I mean?
I think it just gives you an option, right? Like right now, it that doesn't exist, and like in a way, like we're kind of taking out some of the skill, but I like that we're it's not taking away, but it's just translating the skill into a different area, and I'm always okay with that.
Yeah. Do you think like certain guys, like one thing that kind of annoyed me about like the Bucks with their challenges, it's like it always is Giannis. I feel like we always save it for Giannis because he gets in foul trouble, and then towards the end of the game, we'll use it to try to like save him from fouling out. And then we like use him on these plays that really aren't good uses of a challenge, to be honest. And it doesn't go our way, and then it happens. Where in baseball, it's like, do you think certain guys, you almost like save a challenge for like Yelich or William Contreras, or is it a moment thing, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's going to definitely vary team by team. I think it's like just going to be exactly like the NFL we see with challenges, and like how that's not, even with how much money is pumped into that sport, it's kind of it's kind of like actually thinking about it that we have all these freak D linemen that like it's like we're basically creating specimens in a lab. Like Hitler would be like, what the fuck? Like my dream of, it's like he would be like horrified but pleased that we created these absolute specimen, but they ended up being, big black guys. And it's like, what the fuck, right? And it's like Jews probably in the front office that are leading the analytical thing. It's kind of like a slap in the face. I think it's kind of like beautiful in a way that like we took what you wanted, but we put it in the way of all these races that you hated. And we like took like the white master race is kind of not present. It's like we all have master race parts of ourselves, but we just have to unlock it, specialization. And I think that's kind of beautiful in a way. Kind of fucked up probably, and a lot of people wouldn't agree with me on that. But I don't know. I think it's beautiful that, we like each race kind of, they're different. They each have some super strengths, and fucking use it. That's great.
Yeah, those D-line boys are freaks. I hope we draft them. We're 15 days away, 14 days away, something like that.
Yeah.
12 days away, I don't know, something like that.
Well, let me just to your point. Like I think like some teams like Yankees probably will be like just defer to the judge, right? Yeah. But then like you'll probably have like the Brewers and maybe the Guardians and the Rays. The Rays will be super on like, okay, you're gonna challenge this count here because it's like like a 1-1, 1-1 becoming a 1-2 versus a 2-1 is the most marginally beneficial situation for this type of hitter, type thing.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Like if because like when you look at the scorecards, it tells you which missed calls were the most.
Yeah,
it's hard to do that live because you don't know what's going to happen later. But I think you could say like this pitch right now is worth. It's kind of wild to think like in moments they proved that. I mean, obviously like the crowd gets into it and you can tell like when the bases are loaded, like certain moments, but they actually can look at those moments now and like put a number value to them almost.
Yeah.
Right. Like this is worth like 10% of the game. Go get them.
Well, and interesting on this. So, still on that website that found like the missed balls, missed strikes. What count do you think? So there's one count that has overwhelmingly like more of the missed strikes and missed balls than any other count. It's like basically, so it's 1.2% for strikes and 1.6 for balls, and everything else, the highest is like 0.5 for any other count. What count do you think has the most?
I'm gonna say 3-0.
No, 3-0 is actually by far the least. Has had zero missed strikes and 3-0 and only 0.1% missed balls.
Wow. I was thought like by then the umps just wouldn't care. 0-0?
Yeah, 0-0. And like basically once you have a
changes it
strike.
so much. That's crazy.
Yeah. But also like kind of I think I'm pretty heartened by this that like 3-0, 3-1, 3-0, like 0% missed strikes, 0.1% missed balls. 3-1 and 3-2 both the same at 0.1 for both categories. 0-2 is 0.1s. So like when it like actually decides some shit, the umps are pretty fucking phenomenal actually.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is actually a really great article.
The fact that they cut their missed strikes and balls from 8 like in half,
like more than that. Yeah. And like also like how 0-0 is like so high, and then I guess like maybe they're just like not ready, and then once it gets going they just lock in. Like that seems to be my takeaway from it.
Yeah, it's almost like you're kind of like adjusting new player.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is kind of making me be anti the ABS now. I'm just like let them go.
I don't like. I mean, I think we like umps. I think of all sports, they're probably actually. I will just say this definitively. They're the best referee ump personnel in any league. Like I think they do a really phenomenal job. All things being said.
Phenomenal job, and they don't. There's really no like personality. I mean, there
well, I mean, there was. Yeah,
there was
not anymore.
But they're kind of gone now, and they like the current guys. They're not. Yeah, no, they're definitely
like. Can you say how many umps can you say are in the game right now? Like names.
Like none right now.
Yeah, I think like I was gonna say Hoberg, but the gambling shit, right? And then I think just that like Laz something because we had him last night, like, and I remember him, this black guy. I think I kind of like him. And then like they had the black first base guy. I just always notice him at Breweries games. He always just seems to do a good job. It's kind of like chill. Younger black guy. I forget his name, but like I always notice him. I like him.
I mean, West and Angel were like such.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't. It was a lot. It kind of like changed. I don't know. Even like before the game started, kind of had a vibe to the game. Like
100%
tonight. So here we go.
I'm gonna hot take. I kind of miss, and like I don't miss it at the time, but now I kind of miss it because we're away from it. I kind of miss the personalities, because it's, I don't know, it added to the drama.
Yeah,
isn't that what sports is, right? It's just drama.
When we played the Phillies that one year, and Korver fucking lost his mind, and he was like, both sides, you're just
yeah, right. Like we're not gonna have any up moments anymore, and up moments matter, like they're fun.
No, they do. They change the course. I mean, that's why guys get ejected. Like they go out there and pride, and you got to stand up for your team, and you got to like scream. Yeah, you're right. It will kind of take away from that, which I don't know. Like it's kind of funny because there's so much like protection around sports that are like worried about how it looks to kids.
Yeah.
Like some of it is just like, it's like just let the guys, like adults mostly watch sports.
Yeah. Well, I think kids watch it with their parents.
Kids watch it with their parents, but it's mostly like, I don't know. Yeah. It's just sometimes they just are they're just freaking out about every little thing now and celebrations and like John Moran.
And plus, like it's kind of good that kids see this stuff, right? Like they're like, we shouldn't just completely sanitize what the world is like, Like it's kind of good to see some things that are maybe a little out there, push the envelope, so you can have discussion about it. It's kind of like drinking, like what we do in America. Like you just don't drink it all, and then we binge drink like a motherfucker. And like maybe it's the same thing with like shit like this, where it's like, I don't know, see some uncouth stuff, and you'll realize it's not that big of a deal.
Start a discussion. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
You know what? You see it on TV. Wow, that was a little nuts. Maybe we don't act like that when we're mad.
Yeah, right. And like how a conversation point of better control of your emotions and how to have sportsmanship and whatever.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's funny.
Yeah.
Like, did you see John Morant getting in trouble this week for?
Again. Yeah. Dude, he's fucking silver has lost. The inmates have been running the asylum for years now, and it hasn't worked out. I mean, it's somewhat entertaining, I guess. I guess it's kind of worked out in a chaotic, janky ass way. I don't know.
Yeah, when LeBron leaves and KD leaves and Steph
and Curry, yeah,
it's going to be interesting, like what the league looks like, because like those guys are really they're really carrying it still so much. Right now.
And like the classy, right? Like LeBron is the classiest superstar.
Yeah,
I don't know, like an old, true old, like that. No, it's like if you could create him in a fucking lab, it would be LeBron, like 100 million%. Like there's not really much room for improvement.
No, and those guys, they're gonna miss them so much more than I think people realize.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's already a star-driven league, and it's like shit. Now we have to have Ja as it, but also figure out like the gun situation, and I don't know, maybe just say fuck it, like just have them sponsored by fucking whoever the biggest gun, like Winston, Ruger, fucking Armalite, just fucking go full out Trump America.
I will say
military.
I was seeing some, so obviously it was stupid they did it, especially doing it twice in a week after getting warned and then doing it again. Hard to argue that, but then I was like looking on Twitter and stuff, and there was so many other highlights of other people doing it as well.
Yeah,
and it's like happening all over the league. And I don't know if it was the way he did it was different, but it seemed.
I think it's just him, right? Like he's just been the poster. He's like he's the Brandon Wilt of
the
NBA.
It just seems like everyone wants to just like destroy like John Morant. It's like
and has he really done anything that bad? Not really, Yeah,
what did he get for? Did he like somewhere or something like that?
Yeah, but he hasn't like beat his wife or knock up a fucking bunch of kids or like kill anyone. Like he's just kind of memeing.
Yeah. No, it is pretty hilarious. John Morant is ruining his career with the gun celebration.
Like, oh my God. The pearl clutching.
Spencer Haywood said that, former NBA star. It's like, it's also weird too, is like the NBA, and I know this is kind of being talked a lot, but they're having this weird thing where like you have all these old players just ripping on the current NBA.
Yeah.
The current NBA is, you just watch them and like they're just fucking freaks. They're so good. They're ball handling, they're shooting, they're huge. Like everything they're doing is just insane level.
Yeah.
The play calling. And then you have the old guys and all the guys on TV just like ripping them every night. And then you have like these issues, and they just want to use like every little thing to like nitpick them. And I don't know, the vibe around the NBA is just bizarre right now.
Yeah, it reminds me of that Bill Burr stand-up where it's like you have like a fat white guy, and he's like the display of behavior is morally reprehensible, and it's like and just like or like I think it was like talking about Tiger Woods where it's like a fat white guy that's not getting like like blonde bombshell big titties being thrown at him, and just like like you've never been put in this situation and you could just say it's morally reprehensible. But then it's like you have Tiger Wood who has like all these ladies being, thrown at him. Like, can we really blame him? It's like, no, like shit, I would probably be doing the exact same thing in a situation. It's like cheating isn't it's like a moral like gray area or moral like or like it's a spectrum, right? Well, gender is a spectrum, cheating is a spectrum, where it's like if you're encountered a lot, like can you really blame them? And I'm like, I 100% agree actually. Like if you're this super famous person, like I think it's like if you cheat less than 5 times, you should be treated as, a saint.
I think you should just have a honest conversation with your partner.
You should just know what you're getting into, right?
Like,
like come on, let's be real.
I think it's hard for anyone to judge someone that when you're living in such a different, like you can't even imagine what the pressure, the the dealing with
and the money and like in the spotlight. You know, I mean, come on.
Whenever I see superstars and just like their life, it just looks so tiring to me. Honestly, I'm like, you got to like do your sport, then you got to like do all these commercials and all these like, and you're doing it to make money, but you're just like, you can't go anywhere. You can't ever just like sit at home. Like even your house is just full of like 20 people every day. I'm just like,
right. Yeah, you can't just like fucking
you just can't
take
ever
a dump.
Yeah, you can't just like take a day and just be like, watch sports and get high.
You know, eat some pizza, jerk off. Like you can't do that shit. Yeah,
I don't know. It's like can I just have one day?
Yeah, and I can shit post online. You know, come on, like we all love doing that. You know, but it's just they get judged for it. Yeah.
So it's just funny. It's a world, but all right. How about a little draft talk? Before we wrap up here. We have 2 weeks out. They had the I saw they had Colorado's pro day. Yesterday, and Shedeur, Travis Hunter. I saw an interesting comment about Shedeur, and I actually thought it nailed the points because everyone's like, there's so much talk right now about Shedeur's attitude, and then it's like half the people are like
everything about him, right? He's probably one of the most polarizing prospects we've had in a while.
Yeah, but this guy I thought made a really good point, and he said the annoying thing about the whole thing about Shedeur is like if you say he is a late first, early round pick, it's like you're hating on him. When in reality, like that's a pretty good. That's
great. That's great.
What's wrong with being a 30th overall player? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is the Brewer game on?
Yeah.
Sam has turned on the Brewer game and is not watching.
Oh yeah, I forgot I'm on video. I muted it.
Beautiful. We'll have to get the game on here, but it's just funny with like Shedeur. It's like he's probably a fine player, but if I was drafting top 5 and I'm looking at Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or that Missouri tackle you like a lot, like if I'm looking at one of those guys, like I would just take the sure bet and build the team. Get Shedeur later if he's there. If he's not, life is like that's kind of my take on him. I think he's a fine quarterback, but I do think like it is a project. I think Cam Ward's a project too. I don't think any either.
I think that's really coming out that like people are not like, especially for like a top 10, top 5 pick. That's not Cam Ward.
So I like Cam. I think he's a good player too and good athlete. But like, is he worth when you could take like an Abdul like the Browns? It's like you could have Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter rushing
or Ryan, you could have Jackson Dart.
Or Jackson Dart, aka
honestly, I think he's gonna be the first quarterback number 1 overall taken for first QB taken.
Are you? Oh, okay, not number 1.
Yeah.
Wow,
first overall. Yeah,
he's moving up. He was my boy.
Yeah, right. And we were on it. We were all before all this post hype.
I know. Sometimes with these guys, it's like they just way overcomplicate all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, it gives them something to do. I mean, because you have all this time, right? And the NFL is such a behemoth, right? That just so much people are invested. It's like a machine, right? It's like a machine, and you got to feel it with something, and like creating all this narratives and stuff. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yes. And it's always like you look back at all the mock drafts and they're not even close. What happened?
Like, or if you even do, right? If you even do, like how much, like what percent of people actually go back and look at a mock draft? Like of like NFL fans, so we'll even self-select or even say like people that have made a mock draft, like probably 1% go back and look. If
I do it just to hate. I do it. I'll like
good for you.
That annoys me. And I'll just be like, wrong.
I don't. I certainly don't. I make all these bold predictions, and just move on with my life, and then just cherry pick which ones I was right on, and then completely ignore all the ones I was bad about.
That's good to do.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Who's the one guy you don't want the Bears taking 10th overall?
Oh, I mean, fucking if Abdul fell like that. Like I think it's like the D line, and maybe Genty, to be honest with you.
I know. I'm scared about Gentry too. I'm like, be like, what if he actually is like really good?
Bro, and I like I've eaten humble pie with my Gibbs thing, and so it's like I don't really want to double down on like positional value, and it's not worth it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like like I really staked a claim with the Lions, and like I was right about some things, but was wrong about a lot, and I just like that was very painful for me personally. And so, and I'm still there, but because I forced myself to be there, I'm not. It's kind of like we talked about earlier. I'm just gonna keep doubling down until
it was a fun ride though. So there's
yeah. Well, and I think it's gonna come to fruition next year. Like all the coaching, like it really is. Like I think next year, and if like they turn that shit around,
we're playing the long game.
Yeah. It's gonna be like 20 years. It's gonna be like Jack with like fucking Packers QBs, like 50 years. They're gonna have a QB that is not gonna be good. He's just gonna instantly come. It's just gonna become everywhere. Just all that edging is just gonna explode.
All right, man. Well, I think I'm gonna go throw the game on myself. Great talking.
Yeah, wait, get back. This was more fun. I think when we kind of do it on a little bit in whatever. It's more fun, and that's what it should be.
Who's your pick? Florida or Houston?
Dude, I haven't watched any college basketball. Like
I'm going Florida. I'm going Florida. Right. Walter Clayton Jr. Stud.
I'll go Houston just to be a bitch.
All right, sounds good. Good talking. Right.
Peace. Go Bruco. Peace.